Hey friends, it's Heather and I have another layout to share using the May Main Kit from My Creative Scrapbook. And I am starting out with some modeling paste, or it's light paste from Prima. It's one of my favorite textured pastes to use. And I cut this cut file from one of the exclusive cut files available on My Creative Scrapbook website, and I cut it out of a thick black cardstock to use as a stencil. I was inspired by another stencil that I saw online recently, and however, when I cut it, I did not realize that those flowers or images would be such a open space. And so especially using a cardstock stencil, sometimes that can be tricky to use, and it's not a stencil that I would be able to use again. But I really like the detail of it, and plan to add mixed media to my white cardstock. I did prep it with some clear gesso off camera. And I am using a couple of small photos of my daughter and my brother when we went shopping at the outlets nearby. And it was just a fun day, nice day to get out. So I was inspired to use these photos from all of the travel type images and pieces and the Horizon collection from Paige Evans, and the border to my white cardstock is sort of like this very colorful map looking paper. So I gutted it, of course, and I use that to back my little photos, and I am just going for it with the mixed media. I am spraying and using my brush, and then going in with some water. And if you have not heard of Missy Whitten, then I don't know where you've been living, but she is the master at mixed media, and all of her layouts are so beautiful and unique, but her process is pretty much the same. She's mastered the process, but she can do the same steps with different colors and collections, and it always turns out so beautiful. And I'm sort of taking a page out of her book. I am adding color, and I have found that adding it with a brush gives me a lot more control. With some of the nozzles on sprays, you can spray them directly on your paper, which I love to do, but there is no control over where that's going to land. So I did quickly just going to use my brush. So I am going in with a bunch of different sprays that after swatching all of my inks, found match this collection really well. I have mentioned them in previous videos, but if you didn't catch those, the dark blue is a Shimmers Colorings. It's called Mama Sings the Blues. And then there's also this sort of periwinkle color. It's a Shimmers Vibes called Blue Jeans, which matches that pattern paper really well. That is one of my favorite pattern papers in this collection. I am also using a Shimmers called Sunset Strip, which is kind of the orangey color. And I also go in with Caribbean Sunset, which is the darker pinkish orange. I also break out the Heidi Swapp Color Shine in Butter. That's the yellow. And then the last color I use is a light pink. It's a Shimmers. It's called Pop Art Pink. It's one of my favorite ink sprays ever. It has like this gold shimmer in it. So I am using some scraps, basically that striped pattern paper. I cut out a title for another layout, and am using that to border that periwinkle looking pattern paper. And I chose that pattern paper because it matches the photos really well. And since we are shopping and doing a little walking around, I don't know that you would really consider it any like a travel photo, but I just took it for the as an opportunity to use all of these little storefront die cuts that came in the kit this month. So you can see these like little window displays and doors, and I use them all. I packed them all in there. And just this strip across the page. And actually, when I was starting my background, I thought that it was going to be turned. And then once I put the pattern paper on it, I realized I covered most of it up, which is typical when you're doing a mixed media background. You don't really know how much you're going to cover until you start putting stuff on it. And I know a lot of people will sort of lightly trace in pencil where their photos and things are going to be, and I just don't plan that well ahead. So, but I just turned it and it worked out fine. So I am just stacking and layering these die cut pieces and the cute little table and chairs. And I fussy cut that Explore out of a section on the cut apart sheet. I do add a little bit of just a cluster on the top left of this row of everything. That is where my journaling goes. And then felt like I needed to balance it on the bottom right. But I decide that is the perfect place for my title. And sometimes I get started with the layout and I don't even think about my title until the end, and that does pose a problem every once in a while. But I just get inspired and want to create, and actually for the longest time, for the first 5+ years I was scrapbooking, I did not put titles on all of my layouts, and I don't necessarily think that they are a must. You don't have to put a title on a layout. Now, for me, it makes it very easy to keep track of my work, and when I'm submitting design team projects, to have a title. And I do think that it's fun to be able to add these cute sentiments and die cut titles, but it is not an absolute must. So if you don't like putting titles, or you don't end up with a title, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. In this case, though, I do have a title, and I took the word remember and fun off of these sticker sheets, these epoxy stickers that came in the kit, and I absolutely love them. And I took one of the little arrows and tucked it in there. And that was pretty much it. It was so fun to make this. I hope that you found some inspiration, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. I love hearing your comments and the likes. I really do appreciate you watching and all of your support. I'll be back soon with another video, and make sure you check out mycreativescrapbook.com for the kits this month and future months. And I hope you liked. Please feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to know what you think about my stencil and the mixed media. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.